Hold on, wait for sound. Hold for sound. It's loud. Sound rolling.
I got a dollar.
Now I'm good. I'll turn the volume down.
She know we got this.
Okay, come on.
Four.
Fake prophets, they debating small
On
gossip.
Malik.
Eyes focus on the paper, man. These niggas off top.
3, 2, action.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to Rap and Cognac. My name is Malik Rashad. Today I have two of my good brothers with me. My man Daryl, aka Damage Your D. Go ahead, brother, introduce yourself.
Introduce myself, yeah, like you said, my name Daryl, aka Damage D. Man, I'm a father, I'm a husband, I'm an artist. Brooklyn born, sound southern, fuck it. Yeah, that's about
Hip hop
it.
educator, all that good
Oh
stuff.
yeah, I did that too. Hip hop educator and all that good stuff, man.
Yeah, to my right, I got Nana Yao, aka King Black.
Yeah.
Introduce yourself.
What's up?
man.
It's your boy KBIG from Brooklyn. I'm everything. I'm in the universe.
What does that encompass?
I act. I do everything. And that's it. I do everything. I'm a firefighter. Alright. That's, I guess, most important to most people. I'm a firefighter in Brooklyn. We get busy. Shout out to 2.913. And, you know, you find out more about me as we move along.
True indeed. So we're going to get started. This is how we're going to start all of the episodes of Rap and Cognac. I need y'all to give me your top 5, not best, but favorite MCs. And you'll get a 5B because I know it's hard to narrow down to just 5. So again, it's not who you think is best, but who your favorite MCs are. Who want to kick it off?
Well, my list is the shortest. So, Currency. That's it. For the most part.
That's it? That's
Pretty much.
the only person you listen to?
I mean,
That's the only person I listen to. That's the only person I check
He was a
for.
big Wu-Tang fan.
Yeah, but are we talking about like
This
in
overall,
general?
Yeah, in general. Not
Well,
Cognac.
yeah, Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing
Favorite.
to fuck with. Peace to the gods. Who else? You know what's crazy? I didn't realize it, but if I look at it, 50 was one of my favorites without knowing, you know. But I also think he's one of the greatest. But that's for different reasons. And
One of the greatest rappers.
Yeah, if I have a chart that I do that decides if you're a great rapper. It's not just your skills. It's a bunch of things. If it was all skills, rap skills,
so you're one of the greatest artists then, not rappers.
right? Because if it was just skills, on my top 5 would be Jay-Z and then 4 battle rappers. Because I think those are the nicest rappers in the world.
Old battle rappers.
Even the newest dudes are the golden era.
I feel like the newest dudes just be comedic.
Nah,
They ain't really
you ain't
like,
watching.
you know what I'm saying? I'm not.
But-
They should just be comedic.
So I guess Hove and Wu-Tang. It's a revolving
Currency.
door with me, but Currency is always he's a staple.
Yeah, you always
I
talk
wasn't
about
no lie. I was not like any other dudes. I was a Nipsey dude from day one. Hustling in the House was one of my favorite joints. And yeah, I don't really have a
Favorite.
5 favorite other than Currency. I guess Wu-Tang and yeah, whatever my mood is.
What about you, bro?
that's hard. I look at it in terms of who inspired me, and definitely the Nas, the J, Big, and that's
But you think they the best or they your favorite? Or
It's-
both?
that's how I say I gotta look at it like who inspired me. And
shit.
I don't got no faves. I feel like
I feel like I feel like some is unwritten. I feel like Pac, J,
yeah.
Big.
It's given.
For most of us, like it's kind of like that's Mount Rushmore, favorite, best, goes hand in hand.
So I
in
go
my
a
opinion.
little more current.
It don't have to be. I just feel like certain names just like kind of assumed a lot of times.
All right, so
Throw
in
the
the refresh.
James Brown.
James Brown. Oh yeah, right. No, you said hip hop. You said hip hop. So I would say like the Kendrick, J. Cole and shit. Cause just in terms of just content and variety. You know what I'm saying? I know I take a lot of rappers as they find their lane and they just stay there. But some of them you kind of grow with, and some of them a little more widened in terms of range. So I tend to pull more to those that could kind of broaden like content and shit like that. So yeah,
some
like
real shit.
yeah, and they kind of pull you into some shit instead of just entertaining. I think there's a difference between entertaining and artistry, where you could kind of
I
put
agree.
somebody in and shit. That's how I try to do my music too. But yeah, so yeah, Kendrick, J. Cole. I just got on. Damn, I never remember his name. Tobe something.
J.
Oh,
Cole,
the kid
J.
from,
Cole, because y'all both
from
from the
Houston.
Carolinas.
False.
And New York.
Yeah, that kid, he from Texas or something, right?
Yeah. I just got on him, and just energy wise and content and stuff. Yeah, but no. Yeah, I ain't from no damn Carolinas.
Brooklyn/Carolinas.
Say that right now in your voice.
Visiting.
I'm from Brooklyn.
I'm from Brooklyn.
Shit,
That wasn't good enough.
Carry on.
Lord,
What
man.
y'all feel about hip hop right now?
Mm.
I know it'll be a lot of debate, old versus young, new era, old era. How y'all feel about that?
My shit, I feel like it's a little, I want to say rogue, but I believe in like content and real artistry, and I feel like it'll be like entertaining for a while until some real shit pop through, and then it'll be like, oh yeah, that nigga now. Know what I mean? Like the way Kendrick did. Kendrick came through the Migos and all these, like all the entertainment, the dances and shit. But then when some real shit come through, it'll get the light it should get. You know what I'm saying?
It's like some real shit.
Yeah,
Give me
yeah.
an example of what's real shit to you.
What's that?
Give me an example of what's real shit to you.
Just more.
Who's a
real.
current real artist?
Like I said, the dude Tobe, he seemed more real, feasible. Not I say feasible, just more relatable. You know what I mean? Everybody
Kendrick
ain't trying to
Cole.
pop by. Like especially me. The only way I'm at, life wise. I'm not in the club. I ain't slapping asses all day. Like yo, so it's like I think mentality wise, you gotta be in a certain space to even enjoy that.
Mm-hmm.
But I like music that kind of connect more to where I might be at, or just more reasonable, or where I might. You know what I'm saying? Where I would want to be at. How about that? You know what I mean? Some people don't aspire for the same shit, man. That's a whole nother fight. But yeah, so the more realistic music, I usually tend to shit, and that's what I try to make too on my end.
I feel like I try not to get into that whole old versus young, new era, old, because I feel like I'm kind of in the middle of the transition. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Hold on, my bad. Who's your favorite? What do you mean?
we gonna get to that later. I don't gotta lay it out.
Why not? Who's your favorite?
My favorite,
Because we know where you're coming from. If you know,
my favorite,
talking crazy.
my favorite rappers are. Damn, man, that's hard. But outside of myself, Nip is definitely a favorite of mine. Damn, man, I'm gonna give y'all like some current favorites. So Nip, right now I'm fucking with a lot of Nip. Benny the Butcher, Freddie Gibbs.
Oh shit, Freddie Gibbs is my man. That's one of my favorites.
I'm trying to give y'all current favorites. Nip, Freddie the Butcher, Benny the Butcher, Freddie Gibbs.
Currency.
Nah, that's your
I just throw them in there.
Damn, it's hard to say Cole or Kendrick because I fuck with they shit, but I don't know if they like my favorites. Even though like
Who do you check for? Like who do you like?
I check for a lot of shit though. Like I check for a lot of shit because as an artist, I always want to hear some new shit. Like I want to hear some new fire shit. Yeah. I ain't gonna lie. Like I be hoping music is fire. So I'd be disappointed if somebody tell me like, yo, check this is fire and it's trash. I'm like, this ain't it. Trey 3000 always been one of my favorites. Black Thought was one of my favorites.
Yeah, you put me on. You and shit.
That was 5 right there, right? I'm gonna keep it there for now. It's a lot more, but I'm gonna keep it at those 5 right now. But so I was saying like I feel like I'm in the middle of that old versus young, and a lot of this I don't know if it's just necessarily young or just this new type of music. It's not that I fuck it. I just don't know what the hell they be talking about. Like I'll be like I don't know what these dudes are talking about. I don't know what the slang is. I try to like it, but then it's like you said, like certain content, like, and then for me, it's like some of these dudes, I don't even consider them rappers. Like it's just, I feel like it needs
shit,
like
they might not consider themselves
a new
rappers.
category. Yeah, like I feel like they need a new category of something because I don't know if it's rap. Or maybe I'm just like, that's just not my era. Like my little brother tried to put me on this shit, and I'll be like, yo, what are they talking about? And they'll be like, yo, they appreciate the beats or they appreciate the ad libs or some shit like that. And I'm like. I came up like, as we all did, like where I was looking for bars.
Exactly.
Like you had to have bars. And then as you get older, certain things, that's why I said your favorite, because it might not even be the bars, you might like the style, or you might like what they talking about, or you might like this, so that factors in. But originally from the jump, I'm always looking for bars. You know what I'm saying? So that's where I stand on it. But I try to, I don't like the division, because I feel like it's all black music. that white people are making a lot of money off of. So I try to lessen the division as much as I can, but then it comes to a point with certain shit I'm just like, nah, I can't fuck with it. And then it's always like, I don't like that you hating just because I don't like it. Like if I don't like it, that don't mean I'm hating. I just don't like it. It ain't for me. Like my shit ain't gonna be for a lot of you.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And I don't say it's hating. You just won't like my shit, and I'm good with that.
Just
So
the audience for it.
that's where I stand on it.
I'm indifferent. I don't have an opinion on the current state of hip hop. I mean, according to the originators of hip hop been dead.
Who are the originators? That's what I don't like too. Like these old niggas be killing a lot of shit.
But I mean, like, because I just watched the Dolomite movie yesterday, right? And they just said that people say, "Oh, he's the godfather of hip hop." People said it about James Brown. People said it about Muhammad Ali. People said it about a million people.
A lot of people could lay claims to that.
Right. Rhyming words. But my father was a historian, set out Sebi Damani Ajikum. He just changed his name again too. I don't know what his name is, but he did like a full research paper on it, and it was it actually had really piece by piece how hip hop came about. And it was influenced from the Jamaicans, the Puerto Ricans, the Black Americans. It was every different piece that brought it about. So you can't really say who started what, you know? But what I can say is things are just different. I appreciate, I like the music that comes out now. I like those, because people, especially human beings, especially black people, drums and bass, that's our frequency.
That's true.
Exactly.
And that's what a lot of it is now.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But with
The
that,
crazy thing is, though, now I can listen to a song 1,000 times and only know the chorus.
and that's what I was gonna say.
Back then, I was listening for. Now I don't check for bars now, though, because I don't even care for bars anymore.
That's it.
I love bars.
Yeah.
That's why I watch battle rap a lot, though. I'm heavy into battle rap.
Yeah.
That's where I'm gonna get my bars
Bar
from.
based.
Right.
Yeah.
But when I'm driving and I'm in a certain type of mood,
You just want the
I
vibe.
listen to what the vibe is, with the beats and the.
Yeah, because I get in your car times and be like, what the fuck is this? So they be like,
It's currency.
Nah. 'Cause
And Larry
I don't
June.
put currency in that group. But
Yeah,
then it's
you
like,
everybody.
yo, if I'm out in a spot, I'm like that. Like if I'm out in a spot, I could just zone out and listen to it, and because I know, what's gonna happen and it's gonna be cool. But if I'm listening, like just me listening, I'm always like, unless like you in the gym, you listening for a certain mood.
I listen to heavy metal when I'm in the gym. People are like, who the fuck is playing that? That's me. Listen to that shit.
But I think, like, I'm not in agreement that hip hop is dead or hip hop is dying or this and that. I don't agree with all of that. I don't agree with a lot of. I just don't agree with a lot of the division, man. I just feel like it's all black music and you gotta figure out what's what. But what you said, I like that you brought up your father. We could transition into something else I want to build about. So fatherhood. That's something else I want to get into. It's a lot of fathers in hip hop, but just I wanted to build about fatherhood and the black community overall. I mean, y'all both grew up with your fathers. My father passed when I was about 10, and before that he was in the system. So we want to build about, the fatherhood. How do you feel like, first off, let's start off with, how do you feel like having your father in the home affected you in life, period?
I think as I look back now, and then especially with me being a father, it's like the image is a lot. You know what I'm saying? Even I say the image or the presence is a lot.
But I feel like the image, because that's like you're the first image that they have.
Exactly, yeah. So it's like it becomes a template. Like it's just off of your ideas. Like so it's either a yay or nay. Like it's like I'm gonna do this like him, and I'm not gonna do this like him.
And you got a son and a daughter.
Exactly, yeah. So I noticed how much I tap back into it.
You don't have any more.
Yeah. She said the shop is closed. She told me that's what she said in quotation. But she but yeah, just now as a grown man and as a father, I noticed that like just him just being there was almost and it gives you like a template for real. Like it really helps to kind of something to bounce off of. So I could imagine how it would be to not even have that template. You know what I'm saying? Like I could see like the the freestyle. Know what I mean? Motherfuckers, you fuck around, really go off of like TV and stuff. Know what I mean? Of what
just what's around you.
Exactly, opposed to actually waking up and going to sleep with this rain.
Hey, y'all watch King of the Hill? Remember that?
King
Yo, there was this character named Boomhauer. And he was like so country that you can't even, like, that was the point, that was his point in the show. You couldn't understand what he said. He'd be like, hey man, yo, he had a moment where he was just like, yeah, you know, my father, nigga, dang, man.
Yo, you went all the way off. You gonna talk about
Come on, rap.
For a second, I was like, what the fuck?
You got lost. My bad.
My father, man.
Look, they gonna have to put the
man.
subtitles on the bottom for that.
Yo, go ahead, man. You take it over from there since you know you're fucking up.
Yeah, that's my man.
Yo, go ahead, man.
Look.
Oh,
man.
shit.
Dude, crazy.
Oh, man. Yo, so, let me see. Oh.
Alright, we gonna come back there.
No, we not.
I'm gonna get head off of that. So you said feeling like having them there just gave you your first image and template of what you could base shit off of.
Yeah, I noticed how much I kind of go back to it as a father now. You know what I mean? Like just,
and being grown, you can reflect on
exactly,
it.
yeah, hell yeah.
I feel like
my dad used to do this, or my dad ain't never do this, so I'm gonna do this. Like,
and see, that's what I think I noticed as I got older that wasn't there. Like, I feel like, because my father was here, I was probably about 10 years old. But before that, he spent a lot of time in the system. So, but even in our time together, we talked a lot. We got to build a lot. You know what I'm saying? So I still had somewhat of a template. But I feel like being that young, I didn't realize till I got older how much it really affected me. You know what I'm saying? Like,
the time.
Because, I mean, we all know, like, in the black, like, I don't even feel like it's just the black community. Like, a lot of people we know just don't, even if they are alive, they're not around.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, but I feel like it's also different having that presence than having it being taken away from you. So I feel like I didn't realize until I got a little older, like, stuff that was like I feel like I lost my confidence at certain points. I lost just different feels I had at certain points when he was gone. And I had to really find myself. And my mother and, you know, my surrounding family did a great job. But I feel like there's still certain things that only you can get from your father.
Definitely.
And like you said, like, it's like your first template of how you should treat a woman.
All of that.
How you should act under pressure. How do you respond to certain stuff? So I was able to get that stuff. You know what I'm saying? But growing up, it's certain moments like I was like, damn, I wish my father was here. Or damn, I wish he was here to see this or see that, or talk to him about this or that way might have you. So but I didn't realize that until I was like really grown because it just was normal to me.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and then, but, so it was weird, man. It was weird figuring all of that out kind of on your own of like, this is what, like, I honestly, like, and I told my mother this when I was grown, I expected to get locked up, get shot. I just saw that as part of
life.
Yeah, life, manhood. Like, this is, I'm going to go through something like that.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't just my father. It was like, that was like my family, like a lot of my family was going through. I just felt like that was a rite of passage. Like, you get shot, you get locked up, you're going to go through some real shit.
Yeah.
And that's what's going to, like, define your manhood in certain ways. And I look back now, I'm like, that was fucking crazy that I was thinking like that. You know what I'm saying? But that's where I was at.
But you understood where it came from.
Yeah, I understood, like, at that point. But now I look back and, like, nah, like, that ain't the move at all. And I feel like not just me, but a lot of brothers in the hood got PTSD and you don't even realize it. Because you go through so much shit or you see so much shit and it affects you and we just internalize it and deal with it. Because the way we deal with shit ain't really talking about it, just rage a lot of times. It's projected in a way that's not really healthy. You know what I'm saying? But go ahead, you piggyback off of that.
Well, I disagree with you. Well, it's not about disagreeing, it's about, well, it is disagreeing because you said, I feel like most people we know, fathers running around.
I didn't say most. I said we all know some. I don't say most.
Oh, well, that's what I heard. And I feel like, for me, it was the exact opposite. And maybe it could be the case of where people that you are like what you gravitate towards too. But that's not even the situation because I hung out in the hood and there's people in school. You know, I'll say 98% of my friends, 97% of my friends, I'm doing exact math, fathers were there. I know more people whose fathers were in their life than people whose fathers weren't in their life. And pretty much all of those guys, I guess you can say are just like, you know, straight lace guys that's doing all right for themselves.
You feel like now the straight lace is doing well.
Yeah, like, but at the same time.
So growing up, I mean, because we all from Brooklyn, you would say like most of your friends' fathers were in their life.
Right.
And so that's dispelling a myth.
Yeah.
Because I feel like
it's absolutely
it's projected that black fathers aren't present.
And I realized that more recently because outside of my friends, I listen when people talk and they say, yeah, my father, I'm like, this guy's father was in his life. So even outside of my friends, most people that I know, fathers were in their lives. So, and the difference, I don't know, as you grow in life, you're always learning. And they say once you stop learning is when you should get out. So whether that be a job, career, whatever, get out. I was one of those people who thought, you know, or believed that, all right, well, guys who fathers aren't in their lives, statistically it says they're more likely to, you know,
end up
go
in
to
prison,
blah, blah, blah,
poverty,
yada,
drop out of high school. That's
right.
Like statistic, yeah.
I don't know if I believe that anymore. I mean, the numbers may show that, but I also took a class in college that said lying with statistics. Because
I feel like it's so much that, especially for black people, there's so much other social, environmental impact that affects that.
Because there are many people, even myself, perfect example. Luckily, and this has something to do with it, because I know a lot of white guys who did crime. They didn't go to jail.
But that's not uncommon.
No, I know, but there are different factors that play into that. And this is going to go back to my point. That there are guys who, like myself, growing up in the hood, in the middle of Bed-Stuy, when Bed-Stuy was Bed-Stuy. Bedford-Stuyvesant, not Stuyvesant Heights. I grew in Bed-High, right. I'm in Bed-Stuy. My grandfather owned damn near a block, because the boys in Bed-High. And, you know, we moved to the Stuy when I was like 7. Matter of fact, not even. I came from the Stuy, went to Bushwick for like a couple years, came back to the Stuy. So, growing in Bed-Stuy was the real deal, it was raw. And my father, I asked him as I got older because there was 9 of them. 5 of them were boys.
9 of who?
His siblings.
Okay.
Every one of them moved out to the suburbs. My father's super pro-black, conscious, African-centered person. Pan-African. So I asked him one day, just not because I wanted to leave, out of curiosity, I said, why we never move out of the hood? And he said, I thought about it. He said, I thought about moving us out. He said, but then if I did that, you would have a warped sense of reality. You wouldn't have a sense of what life is really like as a black man in America.
Out there.
Right, because there's certain things you're going to encounter in the hood that are financial things, government-wise, as far as like police, and that's a deeper conversation.
Yeah.
But he said there's certain things you won't, and he compared to me to some relatives that I have that are like rich. And he was like, you see how they are? And it was like, yeah, you know what, they don't have the same type of consciousness that I do. Because they moved away from it. And outside of the senseless violence, like getting killed with stepping on somebody's sneaker, which was rare too.
But it's still
but
the
happened.
hood is a beautiful fucking thing.
Right, but he's saying outside of that, the hood is a great place to live. And it is, it's lovely.
What you can learn from it is awesome.
Just the life is good. A lot of our ancestral traditions and cultures have been carried on, and they still are ingratiated in where we live in our communities. So he made that point. And I was like, yeah, you're right. And I could have went and lived somewhere else and had a totally different mindset. And I love who I am because I feel like that dichotomy is something that made me, right, and it made me a better person. It made me, I feel like I'm universal. Because, I went home to my father and my mother, who were educated, had careers going on, and, you know, this is what is the real deal. But then I go outside, So a couple dudes didn't have their fathers, or their fathers were some dudes who were in the streets or in prison whose mindset was different.
Yeah.
And a lot of my friends that I know, I realize how I affect their lives positively. And that's something that came from my father. And when I look back at it, I'm like, you know what? I may not have achieved a lot of things I wanted to in life on a global scale. But I'm glad that I was able to, because I have people tell me, like, yo, listen, son, you said something one day that made me be like,
it stuck with me.
Yeah.
Right.
But that goes back to your father's the first image. Shout out to all the great fathers out there. Shout out to my pop.
Definitely.
Definitely shout out.
Because even in the small time we had together, and my father was a street dude. Don't get me wrong, like my father was a street dude, but like the name that rang out wasn't who I knew.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so when we would talk, it wasn't like he was putting this on me.
Yeah.
I felt like back then you did like dudes who was in the street back then, it was because like that was their choice. There was less options. There's always an option, but there were less options.
Yeah.
So if like it's almost like
tell my father name, because people want to know. Like,
shout out to Shaheed, Best Stop Brooklyn. If you know Marcy, some of the projects, you know my father. Shout out to my little brother, named after the namesake Shaheed. He's carrying that name on. So, but it's like I always go back to an episode of The Wire when I tell people like when Weebay and Name was in the jail and he was talking to his wife and it was like, if my son could be anything else in the world, why the fuck would I tell him to be this? So that was always the way my father kicked it with me.
Yeah.
Like even though our time was short, he always kept it real. Like I don't want you out here doing this shit. He was very in tune with who he was and who he wanted me to be. Like even with me like wanting to have the same name, it was like I didn't want you to. I want you to be your own man.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it kind of gave me that sense of who I am from the jump.
You know what's crazy though, if you think about it? Because, and this goes back to the point I was making earlier about how, yes, I came up in a home where, like, my sister, she went right to college at high school, perfect life, whatever. My mother, my father, everybody, you know. And then because I came from this home that was this way, but literally right across the street from my house is the streets.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm out there, and I was one of the bigger kids. I trained martial arts in my life. I was strong. I was athletic. So there were things I encountered that my personality didn't match up with a lot of other kids. Like in my first real fight, I was in the back of the car. We come back from this program called Climb, Commitment to the Longevity Improvement of Male Blacks. My father and a bunch of other black men who were educators, they had a program. We go to Queens every Saturday. So my Saturdays, I didn't get to wake up and watch cartoons. I was playing chess, I was drumming, I was dancing, I was, right. But there's things that come with that too that I'm like, I'm not going to incorporate that in my child, you know. But anyway, it was a good program. We had a lot of second chance kids and stuff like that. Kids who were like, I either go to jail, you go do this. They were trying to save the community. And I dealt with kids who were street kids. So I wasn't a street kid. I was tough as a motherfucker, but I wasn't a street kid.
And I have that, just to chime in, not to cut you off, but I had that debate with people all the time.
To cut me off, but to make your point.
But to cue back into you, there's a difference between being hood and being street.
Right.
And I tell people all the time, like, a lot of us came up in the hood. But I wasn't a street dude. Like I know some of my friends were just straight. That was what they liked.
The streets didn't raise
that was their life. The streets didn't raise me. I had a good ass family. I had a bunch of street friends. But I was under no illusion that was my life.
Wasn't there,
But at the same time, I found myself in Rikers Island because my environment was, listen, it's a lot of motherfuckers around who had that mentality. And me being a tough guy, I tolerated no bullshit. I didn't have to hustle. I didn't have to do that. Right.
It's survival.
You know what I mean? Like,
right, it's a survival thing.
Right.
And because it was times when I came up and I was like, yo, what's up, homie? Like, it was dudes I brought into my home who stole from my family. And it was like, yo, what the fuck are you doing?
Because like that, I love that quote. Like some people raised on love and some people raised on survival.
Yeah.
It's a difference when you raised on survival.
Yes, it is. Yes,
they don't even see the difference in how they moving.
Right.
But that now
that's all they knew.
the fight is, cause I fight with that. Like yo, like even with my son, like he's gonna be raised off love, but he has to live amongst those that
he gotta
live
know
off
amongst the
survival.
wolves, so he gotta know how to
so
move.
it's like like it's certain shit that I try to incorporate in him. I know that his atmosphere won't necessarily require, But it's like yo, I'm anticipating those that's not being taught what I'm teaching him, and that's my fight, yo. Like I moved from Brooklyn to kind of lighten the pressure.
I remember he's like, you was moving like just so they can have a better life.
That's a simple, yo. That shit had nothing to do with me.
That's so crazy
Like,
because we strive for a better life, but then it's almost a catch-22.
It is, yo. It's because I felt it out
You know
there.
what
I'm like, what the fuck? Like I threw myself in the spot. Like I ain't know.
Because every generation, like you want your kids to be better off than you, and the next generation to be better off. But within that, you still gotta remember, like you said, like the wolves is out here.
Exactly.
So you gotta know how to move.
And what you learn from learning to move amongst that. That shit, like yo, the shit that I learned growing up. I don't. How the fuck do I prep that for them? You know what I mean? To let them learn the same lessons
it's kind of
without
like
living.
Experience is like the best. The best teacher.
Nah, you can't beat that. But
Experience is the best teacher. But going forward even more. So, question. I read this somewhere recently. Do you feel like, because again, we dispelling myths. I feel like there's a lot of great black fathers out there. This whole myth that there's just a bunch of absentee fathers, is that a myth? Like there's absentee fathers in every race, so I don't feel like I just don't feel like it's true.
Let me chime in on that, because whatever the agenda is, there's something they're putting out there, because, and this is deep history and everything, I'm not going to go all the way into it, but because of my profession now, I come into a lot of white men.
You're one of the rare black men in the, I mean, there's more now after all that.
It was rare, but now it's coming.
It was rare.
But I'm a firefighter, and, you know, it's predominantly Irish and Italian, you know. A lot of the Irish and Italian dudes I know, and it was to my surprise, there's a lot of things we have in common. Even though when you know historically, we were, I guess, adjacent to each other in a lot of things, but a lot of them didn't have their fathers. But they had a community that created certain things. These municipal jobs, they were heavy.
Municipal.
Municipal.
All right, go ahead, continue.
There was no difference. You just said the same thing twice.
You said municipal, I said municipal.
Yeah, municipal.
All right, go ahead.
Municipal.
Continue.
These municipal jobs. Spell it. Shut up, Liz. That's how you spell it. So, these jobs, they will have the influence, and some of them they even created. They had a community. A lot of times, the community, it's a totally different thing. Because, like I said, when you get into history, one of the largest revolutions during slavery was black and whites. It's almost impossible to beat that. But
Wait,
now,
what?
one of the largest revolutions during slavery was blacks and whites.
What do you mean?
There was a slave revolt. Because, and I hate to say this, because they always say this, well, Irish were slaves too. They were white slaves.
Yeah, that's...
And what happens is, one of the biggest revolts that almost ended everything was black and white people together.
A unified revolt?
Yes,
I don't
because
know.
everybody was a slave, right? So,
What was this?
we'll get into that later. That's my point.
I mean...
And that's going to turn into another
All right,
2 hours.
Go ahead.
So, ask him. He country as fuck. He was down there. He was down there.
Shit, now.
With sweatpants and Timbs.
No, I get out of here.
Revolt.
So,
Goddamn it.
during that, no, but so what happens is they use xenophilia to separate the two. Yeah, so what happens is you move them one notch above, and it's like, you're not a black man, you're not a nigger. You're better than, you're a white man, like me. Physically, we can see that. That's the easiest thing to use, something you can see. That's the biggest sense we use, I feel like, is sight, you know? And now that's what becomes overseers, which also become police. Now there's different versions of history, and I've done my due diligence on a decent amount, and they all make sense. So they've built something to move themselves up. East New York, Brownsville, a lot of these neighborhoods that's like the black slums, ghettos, Italians and Irish live there.
Yeah, for white.
Right, but I'm saying, so my father would tell me stories like, nah, you know, coming through, we had to run from Italian dudes. I couldn't even imagine that. I couldn't imagine that shit.
Our hood is so black, we'd be like,
right.
What the fuck would I be running from?
Right, so, but then when they got these jobs, like even the mafia, they went legit. They got these things that allowed them to ingratiate themselves into society legally, and then they got these jobs where they moved to Long Island. they moved to Staten Island. And when black people came in certain parts of Queens and stuff like that, they ran, and like you said, white flight. So they were able to go and handle that. So even without fathers, there was still a community around them. You understand? Like ancient Africans do. Where, I mean, everybody, it seems like with them, everybody's fathers around, but there's community. Community is, it takes a village to raise a child.
Yeah, that shit, community raised us.
Right. So there was still something there. So a lot of them don't have their fathers either, but I realize media plays the narrative that they want to play.
They don't portray that.
Right, there's a lot of things that you can get into and be like, well, this happens to them, but this happens to both. But
if we sit and think back to the shows you watched growing up, what white show did you see where the father wasn't present?
I'm trying to think what black show did I see where the father wasn't present, though.
I know the Fresh Prince. His father
Yeah,
wasn't
the
present.
talk show.
They had the whole episode
exactly.
where...
That's true. But I didn't think about that because Uncle Phil, to me, was his father.
Yeah, but if you, I always flash back to the
stepping
episode
in.
where he was, why my father don't
You're
want
right,
me.
you're right.
Yeah.
But in my household, though, like, there was no such thing as stepfather, father-in-law. Like, your father's your father. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get that. So
But
all
you're
right,
right,
so
you're right.
So digging deep into that, because we dispelling this myth that there's a lot of, we all agree that there are a lot of great fathers out there, great black fathers.
Yeah, like I said, most dudes I know, fathers are around.
Right.
So.
Do you feel like black fathers are now more focused on being great fathers and not putting that same efforts into being husbands or partners?
That shit almost go hand in hand, man. I feel like
Think so?
I said,
For you, that's for you personally.
And my mind is like, yo, yeah, personally, I guess so personally, because it's like, yo, I can't be a great father without the relationship. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, I can't be the father that I would want to be without the relationship.
Without that bond.
Yeah, because I got like people around me that I know that had kids, and they could be the great dudes, but without the actual relationship and the kids seeing the duality, is like, yo, it's like, you can't do what I do with my wife in the house. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, it's a difference, and I know the strength and the balance that she brings. So I understand how they both play out. You know what I mean? I play my role, she play her role. Yeah, and that's not impossible.
Impossible. Drink to that.
Yeah, that was very efficient.
No, that shit now, because I'm living that. Like, yo, like, I know, and I
know
try
that
to,
from Brooklyn. That's that real country shit.
Get the shit out of here. Like, yo,
Get
look,
the
hence
shit
the
outta
reason
here.
why I
Yo,
left
from
Brooklyn.
Brooklyn.
You know what I mean? Like, yo, just, almost to get on touch on that real fast, is like, yo, like, being that I understood the importance of the role that I play, the type of father that I see myself being, and how I wanted to raise my kids, I just understood just being in the city and just being in Brooklyn in the way, and I know how it is and how I grew up in it. I knew how much that shit would play against what I would be instilling in my kids. Know what I mean? Like, yo, I can instill all this great shit and the house would be dope, but outside she and he will both still have to intertwine with the kids that's not getting fed the shit that I'm trying to feed her,
right.
Or them, both of them. So that was I swear, like, yo, my move had nothing to do with me. That shit literally was for the kids. It's like, yo, nah, cause the way I see how I'm raising them, this atmosphere would support it better. That's all. That's all. It's still America. Fuck it.
That's,
you know what I mean?
That's like you said,
It's
we gotta
good
toast to
being
that,
coming to a
because
place
that's
where you can wear
that's
sweatpants
mad
and
real.
Timbs.
That's
Yeah,
like that's
In Brooklyn,
G
they
shit.
clown you for sweatpants, but he was allowed,
Yeah.
he was in a place where he was allowed to wear sweatpants and Timbs.
But I feel like with him
The
saying
long
that,
sleeve
Yeah,
white
there
tee.
you
I
go.
don't feel like he's the majority in that thinking.
Yeah, nah.
Like, I feel like a lot of dudes feel like
Nah.
they could be great fathers, but not even have no respect for their child's mother.
I was like that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say respect, but for example,
Just the
my
teamwork.
father and mother, they didn't like separate until I was 16. I didn't even know what year it was. My father mentioned it, but it wasn't until I was 16. But what happens is, my father, I was either with my father or I was with my mother.
Like either or.
It wasn't until later on that, all right, I'll be with them together. That I was with my father, I was with my mother. And even in my mind, they kind of didn't match. And my father was working and grinding and working on music and stuff like that. We had a studio in the house. He would they wouldn't sleep in the same bed at times, you know? And I brought this to my father one time, and, you know, people, their own delusions of grandeur. He's like, no, man, you crazy. I'm telling you what I remember growing up, 3/4 of my life, yeah, we lived together, we were in the same house, but it was either I was with you or I was with her. It wasn't like, oh, we all moved together. Sometimes towards the end, we moved as a unit. But it would be like, my father's like, yo, listen, I was with him most of the time. If it was an event, I boom, I show up with him. My mother will pull up. Or I was with my mother, show up with her, father will pull up. And that's something that I'm realizing going through in my relationship now. Is that, like, I'll be like, yo, I'll meet you there. I got something to do.
Yeah.
It'll be pulling teeth to try to meet you, then go there together. And she's like, I don't understand why we can't just go together.
Yeah.
Like, I'm the person that's like, yo, I'll meet you there. What the fuck? I'll meet you there.
That's good enough.
And she, for her, it's like, no, we need to go together. And it wasn't until today that I realized,
Today in this
That's how
action
I
moment,
came
you gotta
up.
like it.
right. I went to a funeral today with a person that both my parents knew. And it would be like my mother's gonna show up and do her thing, my father's show up and do his.
Yeah.
And that's how it was. It was like, okay, I'm either with this one or I'm with that one. Then there were, times when we were together, but a lot of times it wasn't like that.
But did that mold you? Or what effect did that have on you?
It affected me to where I'm not a person who feels like I need to be conjoined at the hip with my partner. But then I'm dealing with someone a lot of times or women in general. There's been a few women who they're like, now we need to move together. And I'm like, we're a unit, we're not one person. But a lot of them feel like we're one person.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
That's
nah, like
yeah.
I'm cool with
Dangerous.
meeting you there. Sometimes it's dope. I come up in the spot and I know dudes hollering, and I'm like, I'm here now, y'all niggas be cool.
That's me.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
What the? You?
And right, I'm cool with that.
Like I grew
Unless
like,
you get bagged and blazed.
Yeah.
Unless she actually gets
Look,
bagged
I-
then
I-
blazed, then I'm like, well, fuck. He won.
I mean, I just feel like that dynamic is weird because I know
Blaze.
dudes who aren't of your ilk, and they just
His
even
game is tight. His game is tight.
it's no more cognac for you. He like they feel like even if like I feel like even if you're not together with the mother of your child, there still has to be a certain respect that lies there.
Yeah.
Because
It
it's
should
like
be.
there should be on
Yeah.
both sides.
Hell yeah.
Because I don't like that all right, like you have a kid with this person, you're pretty much joined together for life in some capacity.
Yeah. So there's a
So you have to come to a common place even if you're not together of how you're gonna raise your kid.
That's it. Yeah.
But I feel like on both sides, it's not just men, but we're dealing with the fathers right now. I feel like a lot of dudes don't have the mentality because it's like, oh, my baby mom's a bitch, fuck
Yeah.
that.
They separate.
But they separated.
Yeah.
So it's like, how you raising your kid that he or she are gonna have this love and respect for their mother when you don't even have that?
Yeah.
You know what's
Because
crazy?
kids, like whether we know it or not, kids hear, like you said, you remember.
They listen.
They listen and they remember everything.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
It was like you, how you caught.
right,
The
like you still
thing
remember
with
that
both,
from your
like,
childhood. You know, like you like your father have grand memory. Like no, we remember what was really real.
Right.
Certain shit sticks out in our mind. So I'm like, you can't really separate. Like even if y'all agreed not to be together, don't talk bad about the other parent. Because even if this parent isn't doing what they're supposed to do, the kid is gonna eventually find out on their own.
That's it. Yeah.
You don't need to do that for them. They're gonna find out
But
what's really real.
Yeah, that not even the hopes, but yeah, some usually bank on that. Like yo,
Right.
like I've experienced.
And so
people
I
that
just
be
felt like
that.
I feel like honestly I feel like a lot of dudes these days are great fathers, but they might not necessarily be great partners.
Yeah, that's
You
real.
know what's different for you though? It's a big difference because a lot of dudes' fathers are still around or they're still alive and they're not around. That creates a different mindset. It's like, damn, why?
He's
Like
here.
Will Smith.
Yeah, why
you
you don't
don't
want
want
me?
me?
Yeah,
Your father was murdered,
right,
so he's not even alive.
right.
So you don't know. You know what I mean?
No, I agree.
And the thing is this, I doubt this highly, especially because I've seen pictures of your father. Y'all are twins. There's pictures that people can't even tell the difference.
Yeah, fact.
A lot of people are like, oh, you spit an image. No, you're able to be like,
Yeah.
you can't tell who's who.
Yeah,
Remember that picture put up on the gram? People are like, all right, is this my father or is this me?
yeah,
People couldn't tell.
right.
Your father, and the same thing with rappers. People are like, oh, if Biggie was alive, this wouldn't be going on. And I'm like, you don't know that. Because let's say Ja Rule died before 50 came at him. People would be saying the same thing. Yo, if Ja Rule was alive, this wouldn't. But because we saw what happened, 50 came, snuffed Ja Rule out. But if he died before that, people would be saying, yo, Ja Rule would have been the greatest for 20 years. And it's the same thing. I doubt it highly. But let's just say your father was alive, but whatever happened in his life, he wasn't around. That will also change your thinking.
Oh, facts.
Yeah.
But now, you don't have any other options. Your only option is, damn, my father was...
Right.
Yeah,
But the whole thing is like you said, you died of Holly because he was there already.
Yeah.
So it's like, why would he just disappear? But I do agree with you that if he was never there, my whole mindset and everything, like that's why I always say in our brief time together, he gave me jewels that I was able to carry. So sometimes, like, I was talking to my grandma the other day, like,
oh, my bad. Also, your father was in the streets, for real.
For real.
A lot of dudes would be like, my father, no, he was in the streets.
Like,
He got
really
murals about your pops.
Yeah.
He got to be on, is he on Tell Him Blanco Set Your Page? If he not, he going to be there. But he was a gangster. That could have shaped your life differently.
And in certain
because
ways
you
it
could have
did.
been like, this is what I'm going to be like.
In certain ways it did. Because I struggled with that a little bit when I was younger. Like,
I'm Shaheed number 2.
Right.
I'm here now.
Because like
It's
we've had that discussion. Like, I've had dudes walk up to the street that I don't know and they're like, yo, you got to be Shy's son.
Really?
Like, yo, you got to be his son.
That's it.
So it came to a point at certain times when I was like, you know, I was in Marcy, whatever I was doing. Like, they called me Shy. You know what I'm saying? So
Trying to put it on you.
in a while, it was like I knew myself, but I had to find a way. Like, damn, I know my pops didn't want me, but I kind of feel like this is who I should be at some time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
my pops didn't want me to be that.
Yeah,
my pops
but-
didn't want me.
yeah, my pops didn't want me to be that, but it felt like, damn, maybe this who I really am. Because certain times it'd be like, yo, we talking, I'll be like, yo, I'm about to black the fuck out, and I know that's my pops in me.
Right,
But I was just like, but then I like I said, the shot that y'all knew wasn't who he presented to me. That's not who I knew.
Yeah, that's
Like you said, like it wasn't like, you know, we got a lot of people now, like I'm in the streets. Like, no, my father was really in the streets. And it's not to glorify it.
Yeah,
Because I'm mad at him a lot of times that he's not here because he was in the streets. Like I had this conversation with my grandma the other day, like my brother never got to meet our father. That shit haunts me more than a lot of shit. My brother never got to meet our father. You know what I'm saying? So that fucks me up because I'm like, damn, even though I had limited time, he has no memories with our father. That fucks me up. My niece and my nephew, I know it haunts my sister. Like, damn, my niece was born on my father's birthday. So it's like, damn, I know she's mad. Like, damn, it's almost like, yo, you chose the streets over us. And I know that's not really the case.
Yeah, it ain't. Yeah,
But sometimes it's like, yo, you fucked up by
you can take it like that.
damn, like,
Yeah.
why you couldn't leave this shit alone? But it's like, yo, that's what you knew and that's what you did.
Yes, but also for him, it could have been like, this is what I was doing for y'all.
Exactly.
But you got me though, Shad.
Flip side.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Your pops.
Exactly.
Got my sons.
So
My sons.
So it's like, yo, at the same time, I had to get my mind frame right. Like, yo, like I told you, I always expected some crazy shit to happen.
Yeah, just
And it was my mother who sat me down one day and was like, yo, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, you got this great opportunity. I remember being away at school. I'm getting fights with teachers and all types of crazy shit. She's like, yo, you're not in Brooklyn no more. Like, you don't got to have this edge to you all the time. Like, you out here, just go enjoy this shit. Because I always just expected, like you said when you was growing up, like, you wasn't a street dude, but you was amongst it. So, like, being amongst that shit, I can't let nothing slide. Because you going to think it's sweet when it's not.
I was a beast.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not a street dude, but don't get it fucked up. I'm not going to let that shit slide. I don't give a fuck who you are. And then it came to a point where I'm like, nah, I'm comfortable with myself. Say what you want to say. Like, as long as you're not fucking with me and my family, I just put in the mind frame, like, I can't get locked up. I don't want to go to jail unless it's really worth it. You know what I'm saying? Like, so unless you touching my family or doing some shit that's unforgivable, do what you want to do. You know what I'm saying?
You know what's crazy? Being that you mentioned jail. Because, I mean, I'm a statistic, but I'm not. Because we beat the whole thing, and that's because I had a great family. We ate it up, because that all comes down to money.
Right.
You know? And I was like, it almost seems like I was preparing my life for that. Like, I can fight, you know? I can fight. And
But when you think about it in jail, it ain't even about fighting.
No, it was right, and this is what happened. This is where your background comes in. Because when I was in there, nobody was fucking with me. You know, dudes would be like, nah, so it's official. But then I looked at the dudes around me and I was like, I'm not like these guys. These
You
guys
realize
got
who you are.
nothing going on.
And you got this great family.
Right. And like dudes tell war stories, like, yo, my man, so we coming home, this and that, blah, blah, blah.
But that's all they got.
Right. And around the time when that happened to me, I was macking. I was coming into my own. I was becoming the man that I was going to be. I was getting girls. I was making a decent amount of money. Like, life was good. But I had this ego and machismo that was like, yo, I don't let anything
Nothing
slide
Nothing
whatsoever. And that was the streets. My father was like the antithesis of that. He was like, listen, man, you know, a lot of ignorance, blah, 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 spirituality, this and that. But I came up in it's almost like it's like a generational skip. Because my grandfather was a hustler. Owned a lot of buildings. He wasn't a tough guy, though. He was a hustler. And one thing I always think about is, my grandfather owned all these buildings in Bed-Stuy. If I was older when he didn't pay his taxes properly, IRS came and got him.
Now we paid taxes back then.
We see what they got Al Capone way before that. Right. So, but we see what Bed-Stuy is now. Yeah. My family would have been worth probably $25 million. Thanks. But that's what happened. So when they came and got him, they deaded all of that. We were living in one of the buildings actually. He became a loan shark. Dudes wasn't paying him his money back. They had gambling spots, clubs, this and that. You know.
So if you was older, you'd have been collecting. You'd have been the muscle.
Exactly.
Because we talk about this all the time.
Right.
We
I'd
talk
have been
about
collecting,
like,
and I probably would have been in jail.
We both have had our fair share of run-ins. But I feel like for him, which is cool, I understand it, he's this 6 foot something black dude. Just automatically, I feel like darker skin makes people intimidated.
That's a fact. Dark skin with braids, dark skin with a bald head, and a flight jacket. A flight jacket.
So we'll talk about how a lot of times I'm getting this shit because people think it's sweet. And I'm like, yo, and he's not getting this shit because they don't want to fuck with him.
Exactly, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Well, I'm like, yo, son, I had this nigga thought this, and he like, damn, nigga. And we talked about it one day. He's like, yo, it probably is. Like, I'm 5'9", 165. Handsome.
They
you know what I'm saying? They think shit is sweet.
Niggas assume.
So it's like, oh, all right, I gotta go through that.
Yeah.
With him, it's like, oh, this nigga's brawler. I ain't trying to fight this nigga. You know what I'm saying?
Only thing is, when I did have problems, it'd be real. Because guys, like, first of all, I got stabbed up.
Yeah, you
know what I mean? Because it wasn't like all right, this is what it's gonna be. Nah, they're like, and I was laying them out one piece.
Yeah, but it's like, they got no other alternatives.
Right. That also shaped a lot in my mind.
Yeah.
And that was something that when I started doing music, the things I was saying in my raps, my father would be like, yo, come on, man, we can't. Then when I got in trouble, he like, yo, we keep rapping about this. And then you got a case, blah, 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 this and that. And I'm like,
it's the energy.
Nah, fuck that. You know?
Yeah.
And I always thought everybody's like, yo, it's gonna change you. I'm like, it's gonna change me. I don't care. Until one day a situation happened and I reacted in a way that I was like, yo, I almost threw everything away. Yeah. For nothing. But that was just me being like, listen, my parents always say you was born a warrior. Like, that's just who I am. My first real fight was in front of a cemetery, in front of a graveyard.
Nigga,
that shit was life or death.
It said it was life
Who was you fighting in front of a graveyard?
It was life or death.
At a funeral?
No,
not at a
funeral. We was in the room. We were in the car arguing. And when my father was driving us back, that's what I was talking about earlier, he was like, I'm tired of y'all arguing.
Just fight.
Get out. And this kid was street. I was a better fighter, but he was street. You know?
So, and when you street, you think nobody can beat you.
Right. But we fought and it came to a draw, right?
Who declared it a draw? We gonna fight till somebody wins.
Tell you what happened. So boom, I think he slammed me. Right.
Wait, how old were you?
I was young. I can't even.
10, 11?
Everything is also distorted because I got skipped when I was younger. So grades that correlate with age throws everything off. I remember we were walking. My father's like, y'all talking all this trash. Y'all get out and fight.
Word up.
So we get out, we walking by the cemetery right there on Broadway. On Bushwick, excuse me.
Bushwick, yeah. That's my grandma.
Yeah, my grandmother in there too.
He was like, so my father drove off. This is the first time my father even did some shit.
He left y'all.
Yeah, so I'm like,
oh shit, he left y'all.
I'm like, so you wanna fight? And he's like, he just walked over. Tried to swing me, caught him. Boom! Slammed him. I don't know why. He got up. And then he slammed me. Boom! And then it happened like 2 more times to the point where it was even. Then he got one up on me with an extra slam. And then when we down on the ground, somehow I spent over. Hurt! Giving him work. So that's what made it a draw. But what happens is after it was like over, it wasn't even over yet. I think I had him, like I was choking him out. The kid named, I think his name was Jason, I don't know. My pops
Shout out
shows
to
up.
Shout
Right.
out.
It was two Jason. One Jason was my math competition. He thought he was so smart. That's another funny story about bootleg clothes. But anyway, Pop shows up.
Pull back around.
And he was like, y'all done?
Exactly.
Nobody saying anything. He like, you want to keep fighting? I ain't really care to keep fighting. So I was like, nah. He asked the other kid, you want to keep fighting? Son didn't say anything.
Mm-hmm.
That's the streets.
Mm-hmm.
My pops later on told me it was like, you said, nah, I don't want to fight anymore. He didn't want to fight anymore either.
But
he
was
didn't
gonna
say
make it.
anything,
Yeah,
right?
I ain't gonna say it.
My older brother, 7:30 now. Me or my family, I see him, go the other way. Like for real, 7:30, institutionalized prison, like for real deal. He's a fighter, straight up. Like it was a time where I had some situation, I ain't fuck with my brother. Like I don't even want to see him. He happened to be home. And I'm like, yo, walk with me real quick. I ain't even have to tell him anything. I knew once he see me swing, he was just popping off on everybody. My homies, he's popping off on like, they're like, yo, he's like, I don't know them, fuck that. Everybody getting popped on. Anyway, I came home. You know, I'm a little dirty looking. I ain't had no lumps or anything. And I was like, yeah, I just got in my first real street fight. He was like, you're a man now. I made you a
That's what Pop
man.
said.
No, hell no.
Hey, brother.
I got $1 and a dream, you know I'm plotting on a scheme, cause we gotta live supreme. We just gotta